Hi, this is Gilbert Gottfried, and this is for Rushmore Podcast. Look good, feel good, enjoy.
People say we need a theme song, so I wrote a fucking theme song. If you like this fucking theme song, then you'll like the Rushmore Podcast. Rushmore Podcast, Rushmore Podcast, Rushmore Podcast. Fuck you. I'm like a bird, I wanna suck your dick.
Hello.
Hello.
What up?
Hey guys.
Brendon the King Walsh.
The King.
Is that his nickname?
That's me.
What do you roll?
You know who Jason Segel is. We know who he is. And we want to give you a little quiz. Do you know Jason Segel is?
All right. I didn't know you were going to harmonize like that.
That was pretty good harmonizing.
Yeah, I wasn't even
like-
expecting it.
We're fucking professionals, Brendon.
So, who are some of your sponsors?
We got Audible.
Sucks.
Audibletrial.com/Rushmore
Sucks.
Podcast.
Shit. Okay.
We got Roman. Get Roman.
Ooh, that's a good
Sucks.
one.
That's
Slash
a
Rushmore.
rip-off. Causes cancer.
Get your dick hard. We got.
Ooh, don't forget Pure Spectrum CBD.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Use promo code Rushmore.
CBD, dude.
Snake oil.
What else do we got? Let's not
We
forget
got
somebody. Oh my God. BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.com.
Therapy.
You sad?
That's therapy is a scam.
Well, I mean,
It's
Yeah.
a scum.
Especially therapy over a computer.
yeah, Zoom therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's what we're doing
Well-
right now, Brendan.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically therapy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, whenever we finish a podcast, we release it to the fish, and they disseminate it amongst themselves. It's pretty sick.
17,000 fish listen to this episode.
Yeah. So
Okay.
most of our sponsors is like worms.com. They sell nothing but worms.
Yeah.
What's another one? What else to fish? Other fish? Plentyoffish.com is a big sponsor.
Lures.
Yeah.
When
Chicken liver. I know people
Oh.
used to do that. To
I do
catch
that all the time.
catfish.
That's my go-to.
is it
The
Where
only
are you
problem
guys
is-
again? You're like in Montana or something?
Nope.
close enough? It's really far away.
It begins with an M though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Missouri. No, Mississippi.
Oh, okay. I didn't think that. I didn't think that was it.
Yeah, the nearest place anybody knows about is Biloxi, maybe New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans, Mississippi. Everybody's heard of
New,
it.
New Orleans, Mississippi, where the casinos are.
So you guys do go fishing?
I
He
do.
does. Pepper does. By the way, that's Pepper. I'm Thomas. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Are you,
Pepper,
are
Pepper
you a
loves
big?
to fish.
Yeah, I was about to say, are you a big fish head? Are we about to bond like a motherfucker right now?
No, I haven't. When I was younger, I used to go fishing. But just like, I mean, I grew up in a city, so it was kind of weird.
You can do
Excuse
some
me.
urban fishing.
I just ate ate a sandwich.
What was that?
It's like a chicken pesto
Ooh.
mozzarella thing. It was from the store.
Pesto's crazy underrated. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, no, we used to fish in the Delaware River in Philadelphia, me and my friend Jerry. But it's been a while, and I was just at a sporting goods store and saw the fishing rods and thought, I should get a fishing rod and go fishing again. But again, I'm in another city where there's no, I don't want to fish in the ocean. That's
scary.
probably the closest place.
Honestly, we're right next to the beach, and the fact that you can catch anything from like literally a minnow this big to a fucking tiger shark, it
Yeah.
frightens me.
Yeah, it's just not as like chill.
Yeah.
I don't know. The ocean's not as chill as
It's
like a lake or something.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
But I think we're going to go away. I think we're going away because I have a kid now. So like, I think it'd be fun to go fishing with her. She's still kind of little though. So
Yeah. That's
I
like
don't
the
know if
best
it'd
kind of
be-
fishing. You find a place where it's like a lot of those little brim, those little panfish. You go get some worms and a bobber,
and find a place where they bite like a motherfucker. I take my kid. I got a couple spots. Like it's shit fishing. Like if you're actually fishing for like bass and shit that's actually desirable to catch. But like those little brim, kids don't give a shit. If they catch any fish, they're psyched as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, my mission for the past year and a half, maybe, I don't know, since she was around 1, I want her to meet a frog.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Brendon.
You can see us, correct? I know we can't see you.
No, I'm on my phone, so I just kind of have it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Okay, I'll send you a picture on Twitter in a little while. We just had a pretty like a tropical storm down here, so it rained like 10 inches in a couple days, and it brought out all these crazy ass frogs. And we caught a frog that was.
A frog. It's probably like 3 pounds.
No,
wait, you guys have it?
No, I let it go.
Oh,
but I did capture it in my bathtub for a good hour. But I mean, it like with the legs and everything spread out, it was probably about a foot long, maybe a little bit more.
Man, I've never seen a frog that big.
Dude, biggest frog I've ever seen.
It looked like the WB frog.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
His top hat.
I was torturing him trying to get him to sing, but it didn't work at all.
Yeah. Well, I just want her to meet a regular frog. We don't need any fancy record-breaking frogs.
They got those Colorado River frogs, and they excrete DMT. You know about that?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was here. I thought that you had to go to like a jungle for that.
Sounds like it, but they're here.
Where at? Colorado?
That's the name of the frog is the Colorado. You know what? I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and try to convince you guys that I'm a fucking frogologist. I don't know.
The Colorado River runs. It's a pretty long river.
That's true. So is the Mississippi.
That goes because like
should rename it.
When I lived in Austin, Texas, that was the river that ran through there.
That's the river that runs through Grand Canyon, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, once every like 10 episodes, you impress me with your knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, we're named after a monument. We should know about the Grand Canyon a little bit.
I didn't think you knew that at all. Hey, Brendon, we're gonna make a phone call real quick.
You guys make phone calls on your show? I didn't have a chance to listen.
On this episode we did.
We do today.
Okay. Do you guys know what cum tributing is?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'd love to learn about it from both of you.
Well, hold on. If this bitch doesn't pick up.
Hello.
Hey, Grandmom.
Hey, Pepper. How you doing?
Good. I got one quick question.
Okay.
Do you know who Jason Segel is?
Who?
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel. No.
You've never. Okay, so you've
never heard that name.
You've never seen like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Well, you can't. That's
that's a softball, huh?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
No.
Okay. Hey, what's your favorite game show?
Jeopardy.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I like 25 words or less too, but not as much.
Are you sad that Alex Trebek is really sick? Are you sad that Alex Trebek is really sick now?
I hadn't heard that.
Oh,
you didn't know that he had like break
your grandma's heart,
stage 3 cancer or something?
Yeah, I knew that, but I thought he was getting better.
Yeah, he's getting better.
Well, this is a really sad phone call.
All right. I love you, Grandma.
I love you too, darling.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, Brendon, I have notes.
Yeah.
I have notes. You can't just throw out Forgetting Sarah Marshall immediately, huh?
Well, she's my grandmama.
Right.
Well, you don't. I mean, there's no hints or anything. You just say, you just ask if they know who Jason Segel is. Generally, people, I think their brains go to, because it's a pretty common sounding name. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like Antonio Banderas or something.
Right.
So people generally, I think, their brain immediately goes to Jason Segel. I mean, I know, they usually think it's like somebody I work with, or there's a guy named Jason who works down the street, but I don't know. So then you just kind of say, no, it's not somebody you know.
Yeah.
Just does the name Jason Segel sound familiar?
What's the protocol if they get it like off the bat?
You just say, yeah, that's it. That's who we're talking. Yeah, that's
talk to you
who.
later.
Congratulations, you win.
Well, I mean, generally we would talk to the people. You know, I mean, every call was. We would talk. You know, we would do other things on the podcast, like we'd call like a laser place and ask them, a LASIK place and see if they could use the LASIK laser on hemorrhoids. But there was always the Jason Segel. That was just kind of the hook of the show.
Y'all that one episode that y'all did, I think it was do you know who Jason Segel is, with Dave Grohl?
No, that was on the
was that
that was the Bone Zone.
Yeah.
Okay. I fucking hated Dave Grohl like almost my entire life. That one fucking episode.
What a terrible take, right?
Yeah, I don't see why. Why would you hate Dave Grohl? He's always been like every interview, every time you've seen him, like when he was in Nirvana, he was always like goofy and silly, and then he made another. The Foo Fighters are a good band, if it's not your style of music. But I mean, if he made a band that's more popular than Nirvana, after Nirvana, which is like the odds of that happening are 0 to none. All the videos are hilarious.
Yeah.
At least first ones. I mean, I kind of fell out with. So I mean, saying that you hate Dave Grohl is really. I mean, I would save that type of ire for. Politicians or people that can affect your life, and not the most jovial drummer in rock and roll history.
Well-rounded musician.
I'm not arguing with you guys.
Yeah, talented guy, front man, goes from drummer in Nirvana to the front man of the Foo Fighters.
Just like James
Which,
Hetfield.
I mean, I haven't kept up with the Foo Fighters, and but the first couple albums were pretty good from what I remember.
Oh, dude, Everlong is a banger for life.
It's a great song.
It's a great fucking song.
There Goes My Hero was on that album. That was a good song.
That song reminds me of Dale Earnhardt.
In Bloom.
There Goes My Hero.
I mean that's a Nirvana song.
That is a Nirvana song.
That's him.
All right.
I mean, he's an amazing drummer too. He's like if you watch the I think it's Live Tonight sold out. There's a concert movie of Nirvana, and he's a great drummer. And then that kid that he has in his new band. The kid in his new band, he's probably 45 at this point. The band's
he looks like a
25 years old.
Yeah.
He's a good drummer.
He was the drummer for Alanis Morissette on Jagged Little Pill.
That's a weird lie.
That's true.
That's a weird lie to tell people.
That's actually that is a true thing. Taylor Hawkins drummed for Alanis Morissette and Foo Fighters whenever Dave was just hiring musicians, because he wrote that whole first album with all instruments by himself.
I didn't.
And when they were touring, he was actually playing a show with Alanis Morissette, and he met Taylor Hawkins and got him in the band.
Foo Fighters.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be throwing statements around about hating Dave Grohl without anything to back it up with.
Was saying that your episode with him completely turned me around. I don't know why I fucking hated him. It was just. I hate weird shit for no reason sometimes.
Yeah, what a just weird direction to throw that in.
Well, fuck me. I agree. I like him now. I still fucking hate Foo Fighters music, but I like Dave Grohl now. So baby.
Yeah, well, nobody's forcing you to listen to the music.
You'd be surprised.
The Dave Grohl on the old Bone Zone. Well, two things. I think he was on more than one episode.
Yeah, I think he was.
And number two, that wasn't Dave Grohl.
Everybody knows
that was just a fake guy. Okay. Well, because here's a story that somebody told me recently. I was doing before all this, all this quarantine, before all the businesses closed down and stuff around here.
Yeah.
I was doing a show at a bar, like a live, a stand-up show where we would make crank calls. Or live at the show too.
Isn't that called Afternoon Delight?
Yeah. And
I used to be in a band called Afternoon Delight, and I saw that. I remember seeing that flyer. And
so if you want to sue him, go right ahead.
Yeah. That's. I'll get my lawyer Frank come to sue you.
He's also wearing a. Do you know who Jason Segel is? Unlicensed T-shirt. So you got 2 cases on your hands.
Oh, really? You're wearing that right now?
Yeah, I have a red. It's just she was my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. I'm pretty sure I used to listen to y'all's podcast all the time, like not with my headphones in around the house. And kids got it for me. I believe they had it made for Father's Day like 2 years ago, 2018.
Oh, funny.
It's printed with cum.
Yeah, it's just it's dripping cum, but it's the shape of America with do you know who Jason Segel is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just pulled up the video. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the logo.
It's very
right?
faded, yeah.
Yeah, it's very faded. Well, the back to the Afternoon Delight thing, this guy came up to me. And it's not important about the show, but this is where it happened. Was after the show, a couple guys came up to me, and one of the guys was like, I have a funny story. A friend of mine got me into the Bone Zone, and he's like, I work in the recording industry, and I his friend got him into the Bone Zone, and he was like really into it, and he's like, I listened to the Dave Grohl episodes, and then I just so happened to be working with Dave Grohl, and my friend told me that I should say something to him about it because he likes, that he'll know what I'm talking about because he's friends with you guys or whatever. So he said that there was some downtime in the studio, and he just kind of in passing said, "Oh, I really like you on the Bone Zone podcast." And Dave Grohl said, I don't know what that is. And he said, it's what? You're on, like, you're in like 3 episodes or whatever. He told him, and he said to him and the whole band, he goes, well, where is this? He's like, can you pull it up or something, or play some for me? And then he played a little bit for him, and he said, Dave Grohl just listened to it for like, 30 seconds and just said, and he just said, do I sound like that? and then left. But the guy felt like a real idiot. His friend, basically set him up.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that's hilarious, dude.
That's it reminds me of the Daniel Van Kirk when he would play Mark Wahlberg on Doug Loves Movies.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it was so good. I've played it for people and told them that it was, I mean, the what he says, the content is not.
Okay.
But his voice is fantastic.
Okay.
So he sounds like Mark Wahlberg's a fucking asshole. But
yeah,
I've let many people listen to it like, why would Mark do this show? And why is he such a dick to the wait staff? Like, just demanding all this shit. It's fantastic. He retired.
He's good at that. That's he did. No, that's, yeah. I don't see the point in doing that because nobody's heard it still.
I agree.
And I know like a lot of people have, but that's something that I was talking to another comedian about not that long ago. And I'm guilty of it. We all are, where I'm just like, I'm sick, I'm just sick of that joke. I've told it a million times. It's like, yes, but in like less than 10,000 people in the world have probably heard it. Or maybe not, I don't know, like stuff you do on TV or whatever. But like in general, it's like even Dave Chappelle, like one of the most popular comedians ever, still most people aren't familiar with it, 99% of his stuff. So like,
right.
And that something like that is like for Daniel to say, I'm not doing this anymore is like the equivalent of, like Barry Bonds saying, I'm not going to hit home runs anymore.
Right.
Or because I don't want to just be known for one thing.
Yeah. I don't want to bat. I only want to play defense.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not batting anymore. I'm a designated fielder.
Yeah. No, I actually talked to Van Kirk like 2 weeks ago, and I mean that was exactly what he said was I've retired that impression forever. I'm flattered that you love it.
Oh, were you trying to get him to come on as Mark Wahlberg? Oh, that would have been fucking incredible.
We still have him on. He's fantastic. But he was like, I've retired that impression. I don't do it anymore.
What else? What does he do? Other impressions?
I don't know. I haven't heard any.
I know. I mean, he's funny on every podcast I've listened to.
Yeah, I've heard him as himself on podcasts, and he's very funny.
I had to like whenever it was probably like 3 episodes deep into the Mark Wahlberg thing. I like panicked. I was like, "Who the fuck is doing this?"
Yeah.
That was my first entrance into Daniel Van Kirk.
The bit was like he would just constantly demand like a Jack and muscle milk from the bar.
Yeah.
And he would always act like Donnie was waiting in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
It was
I mean, that's the first time that's what stuck with me. I was doing some festival or something that he was on, and I was just like, who's that guy who did that Mark Wahlberg impression? That's so unique and funny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, well, I don't want to get into some like behind the back career advice, but if I knew that, I would have to say something to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's.
But I never see the guy, so I'm not going to text him out of the blue.
Right.
Oh, we will.
I'll do it right now.
I'll do it right
Yeah, we have
fucking now.
nothing to lose. We're in Mississippi.
Can you get his phone number, Thomas?
Yeah, I'll get his phone number and we'll ask him if he knows who
Oh,
Jason
speaking of
Segel
phone
is.
numbers, let's make another call.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one more call. Is that all right with you, Brendon?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
It's we can't figure out, like, we couldn't figure out a way for you to.
Let's see if he answers.
Do you guys know? I have a new podcast now.
Yeah, the
Okay.
World Record podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
We're gonna-
checking in. I
Yeah,
don't
dude.
know.
We're not a bunch of fucking idiots. I'll listen to an episode. I'll listen to 3 episodes today.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
You've spent a lot of time in my ears.
Oh,
I'm glad. It's
Comedian.
I enjoy the podcast. I enjoy doing the new podcast. I've enjoyed all of them, and I do think that if your listeners, I don't know who's listening to your podcast, but if they're not familiar with the 3 podcasts that I've done, I mean, it's definitely I think, judging from the popularity of them, which is not very, but the people who like it really do like it. And it's the only thing that I've done the whole time that I've been, involved in comedy that I really feel is like, I'm really proud of all that stuff. And I'm like, This is something I would listen to. Like if I was a teenager or whatever, like this is just something I would listen to. This reminds me of like all the stuff that I liked growing up. And, it'd be nice if more people listen to this stuff, but,
I've pushed it on a few people, like, and it's like, especially, I don't know why. Do you know who Jason Segel is? Like I guess it was just because it was so fucking absurd to do that.
Yeah.
I actually pushed that podcast on Pepper.
Yeah.
A few years ago because I've been a Looney Tune for years. I was a Nick Thune fan. I remember when he had, I don't even know if it was like a Comedy Central Presents, but I'm 20. What am I? 27. I'm 27.
Gross.
So when he had the Instant Messenger song, and it had to be like 2006 or something. I remember recording that Comedy Central special or whatever it was. I think it was like a 30-minute block on Comedy Central Presents.
Mhm.
But he did that Instant Messenger song, and I used to play that for everybody that came over, and I fucking love Nick Thune. And then that was 14, 15 years ago now. And then whenever that podcast came out, I don't even remember how I heard about it. I probably just saw a tweet or something. And I got in on like the first 2 episodes. So then I called Pepper and got him to listen to it. And I'm explaining the premise of it, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Well,
I know
it's
on
simple.
paper this sounds like it's very simple, but it sounds like, all right, well, how are they going to make that funny? Like you said, that's just the jumping off point. There's conversations.
Yeah. Whenever
there's a
you
whole thing.
explain it to somebody, there's like that. Why would they do that?
Yeah. But then
Well,
you
it's,
listen
yeah.
to it, then it's like, well, obviously,
But
that's
I mean,
why they do that.
yeah, everybody that I've gotten to listen to the podcast enjoyed it quite a bit. So
Yeah, that one's it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you have to enjoy like the the art of the crank call aspect and the juvenile. But frankly, I mean, I guess playing with the phone is just inherently juvenile. But
Yeah.
I feel like the places that we would go, just like the absurdity and like some of the just some of the things that came out of it were, and I just was talking to Nick about this because I had Nick on my new podcast last week.
What's that?
And-
the episode. Oh, I thought that was like a repost of an episode that like an old "Do you know who Jason Segel is" episode.
No, why would
That's
I
a
do that?
new one.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
seems silly.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I'm a fucking idiot.
This is the world record.
I hate
podcast,
Dave
correct?
Grohl, and I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Yes, the World Record Podcast, which is like if anybody listening is familiar with the Bone Zone podcast or the Do You Know Jason Segel is. I mean, it's the World Record Podcast is the same. I mean, all the other 2 podcasts I did, I had, co-hosts or whatever, but I mean, it was all, the over kind of like, the main sensibility, I would say, was is the same thing that's here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
just
all
like,
Brendon Walsh.
for the most. Yeah, I mean, I've had co-hosts. Not that they didn't. I mean, I love working with other people, and it always brings something else to the table. And like the way for the people listening who don't know what we're talking about, I used to have a podcast called The Bone Zone, and Nick was a guest on that podcast, and we somehow got on the topic. Somebody brought up Jason Segel, and Nick had the attitude. He basically said something like, "Oh, well, Jason Segel, everybody knows who he is." And I said, I bet they don't. I bet if we call a bunch of places, most people won't know who he is. And that's how it started. So then we called about 20 places, and I think maybe 3 people knew who he was.
That's not good odds.
And it doesn't do well. But like I said, and I'm not, I don't want to, I'm not that this was in no way disparaging Jason Segel. He's not the butt of any joke. It was just, I was saying to Nick, I think you are overestimating his popularity. He's a very popular guy.
He is.
He's very wealthy. He's he's done a ton of shit. But I feel like he's more of the kind of guy where if you show people a picture, they're like, oh yeah, it's that guy from that thing.
It happened today with my 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know who Jason Segel is? And she was like, I have no idea who that is. I was like, Forgetting Sarah Marshall? She was like, I think I've seen it. And then I said, How I Met Your Mother? She's like, yeah, I've seen that. And I showed a picture. She's like, oh, yeah, that guy. I'm like, exactly.
Right. So that was it was just a silly argument. And then when the Bone Zone ended, we were already talking about it before. Like, I think like right after the episode, we had said like, oh, that would be a funny idea for like a spin-off podcast. And then the Bone Zone stopped going, and then Nick and I started that. And we were that's what I was saying. I just talked to him last week, and we called, because we never, the whole point of the show, like the show is never supposed to last forever.
Right.
We were just going to call every state.
Sure.
And ask if they knew who Jason Segel was. And when that podcast ended, we had only called like 36 states.
We got Mississippi in.
We did do Mississippi.
Yep.
I forget. I have the list. I went because before the episode with Nick, I wanted to figure out the which states we didn't get to yet, and so I made a list of the 15 states we didn't call. And then on the most recent episode of the World Record podcast with Nick and I, we only call like 4 or 5 of them. So I'm gonna keep checking back in. It was really fun.
Oh, nice.
Doing it again. And it'll just be nice to kind of complete the set.
Yeah.
So
sure.
did Jason Segel ever catch wind of this?
I was going to say that. Does he have any idea?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. He's it's funny that people have like 3 or 4. Oh, Nick bumped in. Nick tweeted a picture of him and Jason Segel. He bumped into him on the street and said, I think he told him that, oh, I host this show. And he was like, yeah, I heard of it. And that was everybody's.
That's enough.
That's everybody's story was like, I think that I think he had a pretty normal reaction that anybody would have when they're like, what? There's like a podcast where they call people and ask if like, I mean, I would understand if he took it as why are they making fun of, well, this is making fun of me. Because every story, and there's been like 3 or 4 people that have separately told me that there's a theater in my neighborhood that does shows and stuff. And he went into the theater, and one of the guy that works at like the concessions counter where you get beer or whatever, he was a fan of the podcast, and he said something to Jason Segel. It was like, hey, did you know there's a podcast called do you know who Jason Segel is? And his response again was just kind of like, yeah, I've heard of it. So like, it was never like oh yeah, like there was never any kind of excitement from the 3 or 4 separate stories, including Nick. It was just kind of like, yep. Mm-hmm,
well,
yeah,
fuck that dude.
I know it's a,
because if somebody, I know.
Pepper over here is like, fuck Dave Grohl, fuck Jason
Hold on, I have a point. If
I know. Pepper doesn't like himself. That's
if we start a podcast called "Do You Know Who Brendon Walsh Is?" Would you?
I don't think I'd be into that.
You wouldn't be into it.
I mean, it's just like go find something else to talk about. I don't need people.
But I mean, people talking. It has done nothing but make Jason Segel more famous. I mean, that's my point.
Maybe, but I could see, and I don't know where his ego's at, and it might be depressing to catch wind that like a very small percentage of people that you randomly call on the phone know. Like he might think like I'm as popular as Tom Cruise. He might have the same view that Nick Thune had of him.
Well, then he's an asshole.
No, he's not an asshole. He's just a guy living his life.
I'm just saying.
You know, we had a silly idea for a podcast, so I'm not going to be mad at it.
No, it was great. I'm not mad at him.
Brendon, I'm on your side completely. I don't.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
But for the podcast,
hate is spewing out of Pepper over here.
Yeah, Pepper's got some anger issues. You got to use that bullshit the over the Zoom
CBD?
Therapy.
Oh
yeah. Use all your horrible products that are advertised.
I need a
BetterHelp.com/Rushmore.
I need to read a goddamn book.
Yeah.
Yeah, use them all. That's get a book on Audible.
Your first month.
Take the bogus Viagra.
Nice.
Take some CBD oil and then get on Zoom and jack off in front of one of those therapists or whatever.
Of age therapist. Thank you for saying that. I don't want to Crystalia this shit.
Oh, dude.
Well, I don't think you can be a therapist if you're under 18. Unless that's a good idea for a show right there. Doogie Howser, but he's a marriage counselor.
Oh, hell,
13-year-old marriage counselor.
Pretty hilarious. My kids watched Family Feud with you on it.
What's that?
The other day. You know what Family Feud is.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
Celebrity Family Feud, and you were on it.
Yeah.
And I was telling them today, I was like, guess who's on the podcast today? They're 12 and 11. I was like, guess who's on the podcast today? And I was like, you remember we watched Family Feud the other day and Drew Carey's team? And they're like, the guy with the blue hair? Was their response? I was like, yeah, that guy. I was like, you know that shirt I always wear, the podcast I used to listen to? Do you know who Jason Segel is? They're like, yeah. I was like, he's one of the hosts of that. And they were just like, oh my God, that's so incredible. Tell him
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's funny having kids, like how you really do. It's like their world is so small. It's like it's just you and your wife or whatever kind of situation you're in there. And that's something like having a 3-year-old now where I'm just like, I love it, but it's just so cool how it's just like, yeah, that is probably like, that is the equivalent of that's even bigger than having Jason Segel on your podcast to them.
Yeah.
Because this guy, we just saw this guy on TV. My dad has a shirt of him. This guy's like pretty popular in this house.
Yeah. We had Paul Felder, UFC lightweight Paul Felder on.
Yeah.
And he's my wife's favorite fighter. So therefore he's my kid's favorite fighter. And like in our house, when he fights in the UFC, like it's an event when he fights. Like if he wins, he loses, they cry. And we had him on, and then I had him shout them out, like say their name, and they lost their. To them, Paul Felder's the biggest celebrity that's ever walked. Like he's bigger than Tom Hanks. He's the biggest celebrity that's ever walked.
Well, we had Adam Ray, and I told my son, I was like, yeah, he was Slimer in Ghostbusters. He was like, excuse me.
Yeah, his son thought we actually had Slimer on.
Yeah,
like
that's a lie.
Yeah, that is a lie, and you shouldn't lie to your kids. Pepper hates Dave Grohl. He hates Jason Segel, and he lies to his children.
I'll lie to my kids, whatever.
Yeah,
Africa.
I don't know this
in India.
This Pepper character,
and it is a character. Don't. His real name is Oregano, and he's a very straightforward guy. He loves Foo Fighters.
No nonsense.
His aunt is Mrs. Dash.
Yeah,
how'd you know that? How did you know that?
That is weird. I need you to stop looking into my genealogy reports.
They renamed Aunt Jemima today.
What?
Yeah, they're changing the name of Aunt Jemima. That's a true.
Well, they're just discontinuing the brand, and it'll just
Are they?
be like
the syrup,
Nabisco, whatever company owns it. They'll just. I don't like. They're not going to put a new picture of a lady. They're not going to be like, all right, it's called cousin Sally's.
It's called Jeff.
It's called Aunt Jemima.
Jeff.
Well, it's like it's kind of a tricky situation there because you can't. Well, I don't want to get it.
Yeah. We don't have to get into that.
Fucking
Well, it's like
syrup
because
and on pancakes.
I could see brands like these shit fuckhead corporation shit places like Nabisco and Kraft, whoever the fuck owns Aunt Jemima. But I could see these businesses changing their mascots or whatever the fuck you would call Aunt Jemima,
Right.
changing them into like more diverse. Like, oh, the Pep
Yeah.
Boys are now Manny,
Yeah.
Juan, and
Muhammad.
an Asian name or so. Yeah. So I could see them like doing fucking dumb shit like that. But I'm like, well, the Aunt Jemima, okay, yes, get rid of that because it's obviously inappropriate.
Yeah.
But like you can't. It's like that's kind of like your only black spokesman though. So
Yeah. What's Nabisco gonna do?
Yeah.
it's like you can't or what. I don't even know who owns it. I assume it's one of
There's
those
a-
conglomerates that
There's a
owns-
comic, and I'm feeling like an idiot right now. There's a comic that had a podcast, and I don't know why I can't remember this, but their dad was the president of Nabisco. Who was that?
I don't know, but you know what you're going to find if you really dig into successful comedians. 90% of them have rich parents.
Oh, I found out the other day that Andrew Schultz's mom is the ballroom dance goat. She's the greatest ballroom dancer of all time. And his parents like single-handedly brought back swing in the 90s.
Wait, is this why we're not successful? Because our parents fucking suck?
I just found that out.
Having rich parents gives you such a leg up. Well, here's the thing too, and this is all speculation because I do not have rich parents by any means.
Me either.
Me neither.
But it just makes number one your upbringing. You see a different kind. Like my dad was a fireman, and my mom. I don't even know what my mom was doing. But the kind of blue collar environment that I was brought up in, like you have a different kind of worldview. It's like you get. Everything's like more difficult. You're getting screwed over by people or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the being brought up by like a fireman as opposed to some kind of a CEO or a guy who owns a successful business, you kind of see more. You see how that works, and you see how you see more opportunities than challenges out there. And then once you get out of like college or decide to move to New York or Austin or San Francisco or Los Angeles. Your parents pay you don't have to get a job at Jiffy Lube and work 40 hours a week so you can pay your rent and also try and write a fucking script after you worked a shitty job with a bunch of fucking morons all day.
You always have a safety net.
You have a huge safety net. I mean, you have a huge safety net if your parents are like wealthy, and it's just like, listen, when you turn 18, you get like $5 million. So do whatever the fuck you want. But there's like different levels, even just like, we'll pay your rent and here's an American Express card and, go get like a part-time job or something. You probably work a little bit, but having that kind of support to like focus where it's like, okay, I'll wake up at 10 a.m. and start, like writing, working on my script or doing stand up and like not it's just easier. And I find, and I guess like, I'm not like a total classist, but, and it is jealousy. Cause like, I wish that, I wish that I had a better, like a more kind of like knowledgeable upbringing of like, like if when I was 6, if you asked me what I wanted to do, I'd say, I want to be on Saturday Night Live. But in the world that I was raised in was like, oh, well, that's impossible.
Right.
Because that's like a fantasy. Like how the fuck do you even do that? None of us know where to start.
Exactly.
But if I grew up in a different environment with like a larger worldview, then, your dad would be like, okay, well, if you really want to be on Saturday Night Live, here's what you do. You move to Chicago, you get in the Second City, or you move to Los Angeles, you join the Groundlings. Like people don't just pick you off the street, which I think is like, at least that's what I thought happened when I was growing up in Philadelphia. It was like every movie star and every TV star just had people go, "Oh, this guy's cool. Let's put him in movies."
Yeah, they don't
Like
come to Biloxi, Mississippi to find the next SNL cast member.
Exactly. And even like, I didn't even know that too, whether they're just like, oh, this guy's from, like, oh, John Belushi grew up wherever the fuck he grew up or whatever. Like when they said people were from somewhere.
Yeah. You
Like,
thought they just went there and got them.
Yeah. Like new band from Detroit. It's like, oh, cool. This band's from Detroit. It's like, well, that's where they started, but they moved.
Right.
Everybody has to move to Los Angeles.
And by the way, I said a comic had parents that were president of Nabisco. I was a little off. I remembered it was it's Steve-O and his dad.
Pepsi.
Right.
His dad was the president of Pepsi and Nabisco.
Yes. Yeah. No,
That's
I
what
knew
I was
that.
thinking
I
of.
knew he's a crazy rich kid. And there's a lot of them too, like, and it's like, I don't have any disdain. Like some of them are very funny guys. Like I don't,
right.
I'm not like, oh, that guy sucks. He's just successful.
Most kids of super rich people were fucking ignored because their parents were working on the entire time.
It goes
that
one
makes
of
you
two
funny
ways.
as shit.
It could go either way. But they still have that security blanket regardless.
Yeah, there's also a huge thing with like when it comes to like wealth management and shit. Like I don't know dick about wealth management. Thomas doesn't know dick about wealth management. But like when you get into that world where like if somebody just threw $100,000 in my lap right fucking now, I would have no idea what to do with it. Like it's such a huge step up when you grow up into that world and you have somebody that can actually tell you how to manage money and all this shit. And that's one thing that I love about one thing that Kevin Hart's doing.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Hart is like teaching people about like how fucking stocks and shit work. And nobody talks about like they don't fucking talk about that in high school.
He's getting paid like $100 million by Chase Bank to go do that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, good for him, dude.
Yeah,
but I mean, like they didn't teach that in high school. They were like
if Chase Bank's paying him to do it, this is not a good thing.
No, not at all.
There's some backdoor.
Jeff Dye, comedian Jeff Dye is calling me right now. Give me 1 second. Let's take this. Hey, Jeff.
What's up, dude?
I have a question for you, man.
Okay, good. What's up?
Do you know who Jason Segel is?
Jason Segel, the actor?
Yeah. I mean, he acts.
From Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess you do.
Damn, home run.
Well, I mean, he's going to know. He's a guy. He lives in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
he's in
LA,
the show business.
Do you ever bump into Jason?
He used to drink at a bar called The Den in Hollywood, and we would see him drinking alone all the time across from like kitty corner from the Comedy Store. And then also, country music video called Drunk on a Plane.
Oh, yeah?
And they originally wanted to cast Jason Segel, and they couldn't get him because he was too expensive or just disinterested, and I got the role because of that. Those are all my Jason.
Holy shit.
Well, that's incredible. And by the way, Jeff, if I had to, gun to my head, I'm taking you over Jason Segel every day of the week.
Wow.
What a guy. Thanks, man.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb.
I'm so confused.
I'm going to say that that Jeff wasn't the second choice. I'm going to say there's a wide berth of people.
Brendon Walsh is saying that
there were
you
a
weren't
lot
the
of
second
names
choice.
checked off. There were a lot of names checked off.
That you weren't the
Jason
second choice
Jeff.
behind Jason Segel for that music video.
Well, I don't know. That's what they told me, is that they were like, fuck it, let's just get the guy who we know. That's what they basically were like, Jeff will do it for cheap. That's basically what they said.
For free.
You're far more handsome than
Jeff will do it for vodka.
Well, no, because I knew the guys that were making the music video. It wasn't like they were like, oh, Jeff Dye's our second choice. It was,
what do you know, Brendon Walsh?
They called at least put out three other offers.
100%. Hey, he can't hear me right now. 100%.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
I appreciate Brendon Walsh trying to humble me in some way.
We're starting.
You can't hear Brendon. We couldn't
It's so
figure out the fucking
frustrating.
technology, but he found that very humorous.
Yeah, I love when I'm constantly reminded that I ain't shit for no reason.
Well,
Hey,
I will say this.
Wasn't I was doing something to Jeff. I feel like we had some funny Twitter interactions.
Brendon said you and him had some funny Twitter interactions. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I love Brendon. I like literally. I love everything he tweets. I fucking hang on. I love it.
His Twitter's pretty.
What about
I feel like we were doing like a ball busting kind of thing. I can't really remember.
You are busting each other's balls, apparently. You're doing better than. You're doing better than one comic in particular today, but a lot of comics out there.
I do appreciate that. I'm enjoying the fall of Chris D'Elia. Let's just put it that way.
All right, we love you, Jeff.
All right, love you guys. Bye.
Bye. Dropping some hard Chris D'Elias on this podcast, and I don't enjoy it.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I
not.
I don't see why Jeff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Jeff has a personal history with.
I did not know
why
that
anybody would enjoy the.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan of piling on the comedian in any form.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know Chris. He actually, I cut him a lot of slack. I get, like, he's gone out of his way to tell me how funny he thinks I am.
Oh,
so that immediately makes, because, like, the kind of comedy he does, the type of comic he is definitely not. It's something that I would probably talk shit about.
It's different.
But since he's gone out of his way to tell me that he thinks I'm funny, he's okay in my book. Now, as far as whatever the hell's going on
right
now, I mean, I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
Exactly. I was about to say, I feel like the dude in the back seat in Pulp Fiction was like, I don't even have an opinion.
Yeah, it's not our place to pile on the guy without,
Well, I mean, if you're trying to have sex with 16-year-old girls, yeah, that's a problem.
Don't do that.
But I don't know what the
you don't know what's real, what's not.
The people, everybody, they need to just get rid of Twitter, and everybody's just too accessible. Everybody has a little platform to say their own dumb, shitty opinion about everything. And for some reason, and this is like the same with all the fucking mask bullshit.
Yeah,
this is to paraphrase my friend Matt Farley, who I was texting about this stuff. He said something in our text that I really liked, where he said it's a jackpot for losers. Like, this kind of stuff it's like it allows you to take the moral high ground and act superior without doing anything.
And there's no downside.
There's no downside. You can just get on your soapbox and tell everybody that, like, to wear a mask, and, like, you're killing grandmas if you don't. And it's like, it's complete bullshit. If you're walking down the street, you don't have to wear a mask. Like, if you're going to a crowded grocery store or something, fine. Put a fucking mask on. But, like, all this, like, pseudo, like, all these comedians who are now, like, working for the CDC or whatever. I'm just like, are you a fucking comic? Like, what is? Like, you go through some of these timelines, and it's like, do you work for the World Health Organization, or were you on a fucking shitty sitcom? Like, what? Like, pick a profession. Like,
well, King of Queens is pretty good.
Well, I don't want to call anybody out specifically, but there's a handful of people who, I know personally, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to deal with this person anymore. They're out of their fucking minds.
Hey, we live in Mississippi, so you ain't telling us shit.
Yeah, we've been
wide the fuck open.
Well, of course you have.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably the truth lies somewhere between Mississippi and Los Angeles as to, like, mask wearing and social distancing.
Go to Arizona.
I'm sure Mississippi, as soon as all this happened, found a way to just kind of, like, open up more.
Oh, like, shit, now's our chance.
Extended business hours.
If you're walking down the street, you have to have a no mask and an AR-15 and a Confederate flag.
Drill 2 more nostrils and another mouth into your head.
You know what's been crazy is with everything going on, there's finally a push to change the Mississippi flag. I never thought that was going to happen.
We have a city called Gulfport that is right outside of Biloxi down here. And yesterday they took their flag down. There's no more state flag in Gulfport. Yeah.
I think I've been to Gulfport.
Have you?
I'm sorry.
I think so. There was this guy who he would book these, like, the guy who owned the Comedy Caravan in Louisville, I think.
Right.
Okay.
Either way, it was like this run of, like, one-nighter shows that went through Alabama and Mississippi. And
I gotcha.
That place you said rings a bell. I don't remember anything about.
What do you say, Brendon, we get into our goddamn topic? Because we've went a while without actually talking about our topic for Rushmore.
I'll be
and
is this podcast usually funny? Because I don't think I've said anything funny on this
dude,
podcast.
you're fine.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
I was sweating because I thought we were going to be, like, having to keep up with you the entire time.
Oh, but instead it's been just boring enough to
Yeah, what does that
stay on
even
top.
No.
Pepper's the king of terrible comments.
Luckily.
It's been just like, because I don't know. Like I had a whole plan. I don't know. You ready to get in this goddamn topic, Thomas?
Yeah.
All right.
I've one of the sharpest, most brilliant comedic minds in history, and nobody, and I'm unemployed most of the time.
Hey, how was Steve Harvey?
Steve Harvey, it was the interaction with him was exactly what I was expecting.
Hell yeah.
Pretty much all business. Those Celebrity Family Feuds are very short. It's maybe it is a normal length, but it goes by very quickly. It is very short. So they just have to keep things moving. And it was, I do regret there was a good line that I got in there that I thought for sure they wouldn't edit out, but I guess it was just a time issue. When he asked about my blue hair, I said that it was blue because I worship the movie Frozen, and like Frozen 2 had just come out.
Yeah, it's pretty
and
good.
It got a really big laugh in the room. It got a laugh. I don't know if it got a laugh from Steve. I think Steve's reaction to me, which was completely expected, like this doughy guy in his 40s with blue hair, was the Steve Harvey face that he makes, like when it's like, you're like kind of like, is this guy like this guy's crazy face, that kind of like slack jawed.
Yeah, and I've been a Brendon Walsh fan for so long that in my head I'm like, Steve definitely knows who Brendon is. He's a comic. He knows who. That's in my head. That's when I'm watching it.
I doubt it. I think that he's probably like he knew who Drew was.
Sure.
But I would say that's about the cutoff. That's about the cutoff. Can you turn Pepper's mic off? It's getting
we got
but I feel like Steve has been, because he's a Kings of Comedy guy, right? And that was 25 years ago, at least.
Sure.
Maybe even more.
He's not in the stand-up world anymore.
That's what I'm saying. He's been crazy famous for a long time, and he's not following. He's not the kind of guy that's like got his ear to the ground. He hasn't stepped foot in a comedy club probably in 2 decades.
That's a shame, because 1999 Steve Harvey was a funny man.
I wonder if he's
probably still funny.
Oh, I would imagine so. But I mean,
no, he definitely doesn't do stand up. I mean, like Drew doesn't really do stand up. And like the way I got to know Drew was he wanted to make a special and had gone back out on the road. And I think he wanted somebody else to open for him. But they weren't available. I don't know the story because like I didn't know him, but we had the same
Jason
agency.
Segel, Jeff Dawes situation.
Well, it was I'm just lucky that I was with the agency that I was with, and the timing of it, because I think maybe I was like kind of, when you're new with an agency, they definitely work a little harder. Like, they kind of, they're like, look, we can do things for you, but then the longer you're with them and the less money you make for them, they're just kind of like, we don't really give a shit about you, but we'll keep you around in case something hits. So they, Drew needed an opener, and they were like, well, here are 3 tapes or whatever. They sent him some clips, and I was one of them. And he's like, oh, that guy. And I had just happened to, I don't know if I'm sure I probably introduced myself to him, but like a week or so before that happened, we just happened to be on the same show at the Laugh Factory. So I think it was just kind of one of those like, synchronistic, where it's like, oh, he had just seen me and like was like, oh, that guy seems okay. And then they showed him a tape and he's like, oh, it's that guy. He seemed okay. I'll take him on the road with me. So that's how we got to.
And now you are really good friends, huh?
Yeah, we're great friends. And
I fucking love that guy, by the way.
Yeah, he's a great guy. But he, like, back to what got started on that whole rant was he doesn't even do stand up, because like these guys get into, I mean, he's no spring chicken anymore, and he essentially retired when he ended his Drew Carey show and Whose Line Is It Anyway? So, and then like he started doing the prices. Like I bet he would be a very active stand-up at this point if he didn't start doing Price is Right. But
Yeah.
like Price is Right and Steve Harvey, I mean, that guy hosts like 3 or 4 shows.
Yeah, he's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
he owes
also like
everything.
they're both like 60. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
like
their daytime shows. They got to be up early. They can't be at the clubs
It's
all
not
fucking
filmed
night.
live, dude.
Well, it's a full-time job. I mean, you're shooting a lot. It's not like it's not like a sitcom. I mean, at least I know Price is Right isn't like I think they obviously get time off, but
Yeah, I think
they have to shoot like this isn't like a weekly sitcom you're doing. You're shooting like 300 shows a year.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that's a full-time job.
All right, our Rushmore of game shows is the topic we're going to get into. What's going to happen is Pepper will give his number 4, I'll give mine, you give yours, and we go down to our number 1.
Okay.
You can spend some time on your pick if you want. You don't have to. We can keep the motherfucker moving. What's your number 4, Pepper?
My number 4 on my Rushmore of game shows is what did my grandma say was her favorite game show?
She had one I never heard of. Like
it was like
25
words or less, or items or less, or
I've
some
never
shit.
heard of that. She's a fucking idiot.
But she said she also loved Jeopardy.
Yeah,
I do know that show. I know that.
What is that?
It's a very confusing show. It's you have to. I don't think I could really explain it, but I was working on a lot.
Can you explain it in 25 words or less?
Yeah.
It's like you only have 25 words to get people to guess things. So it's kind of like
Taboo,
or like $10,000, $25,000 pyramid where you're like, how like
5,600 minutes.
How they'll say like it's one of those things where like one person has a card and it says like trampoline on it.
Okay.
And then they have to get the other person to guess it. And they're like jumping.
I got you.
Backyard.
You jump on that shit.
Yeah.
Springy.
So right, but the amount of words they get to use is limited. So they have like 10 things. So basically they can only use 2.5 words per thing. So
I'm disappointed in my grandmother for even
well, it's a daytime thing. It's probably on twice a day on like the CW or whatever. Where
I'm going with Jeopardy. That's me and her used to watch that show whenever I lived up there. That's my number 4 on my Rushmore of game shows. Jeopardy. Me and my grandma used to watch that shit all the time, and we would keep tally on who got questions right, and then whoever won at the end of the night got a nickel or whatever.
Yeah.
So these aren't to be clear about your game here. This is not like number 1 is no better than number 4.
It's up to your discretion. So it's your Rushmore of game shows. What do you consider? 4 would be the worst. 1 would be the best.
But isn't Rushmore? Aren't they like the 4? Because I assume this is based on the mountain.
So, yeah, vaguely.
Sculpture.
Pepper didn't even know what state it was in.
We're not getting into the racist mountain aspect of this.
I mean, I wouldn't. You know what? Pepper can be faulted for a lot of things, but wouldn't. I would say not knowing where Mount Rushmore is a because I think I don't know where it is. Is it in North Dakota?
Boom.
Or okay, but I wasn't sure.
No, you nailed it.
I'm fine. I'm fine being the shithole on today's episode.
Well, I mean, dude, you shit on Dave Grohl, an American hero.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with that because I feel like I've had about 3 episodes where I was really shitting on you, Thomas.
Yeah.
And I feel bad about it.
Sure.
I feel like the pendulum needs a swing towards my way. Dump some shit on me, dude.
Yeah, Thomas, and get off Dave Grohl's dick already.
Yeah, dude. What
yeah,
the fuck is your problem,
it's
dude?
so big.
Have you seen his face?
Probably.
My number
he probably
4
does have a big penis.
And I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time
with
on this or on Dave Grohl's dick because I'll come very quick.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is Family Feud.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
And if I'm being honest, favorite version is Louis Anderson.
He hosted that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Of course you didn't, Pepper.
Louis Anderson is an interesting motherfucker.
Oh, he's fantastic. I love Louis Anderson.
Survey says.
You
really good
nailed it. And that sounds like a disease, cervasis. What's your number 4, Brendon?
Well, if they're going to go in order of, I would say, well, let me think of the 4 that I was going to say. So we got, okay, I'll say Maybe I think I would put Family Feud in there too.
It's a great pick.
That is a good pick.
Yeah.
For number 4. Yeah, definitely. I don't know the next 3. So I could just rattle off the next 3 if you want.
We'll get to it. What's your number 3, Pepper?
My number 3 is it's kind of a loose game show. I don't know if you could really call it a game show, but Brendon Walsh's homie, Drew Carey, whose line is it anyway?
Okay, that's an improv show. I mean,
It's
I guess
a game show.
I don't think it's a game show. Well, I don't know.
I mean, I guess
don't know.
they reward points that don't matter. So I guess you
They don't
do win a prize.
They don't matter.
That's what they always say. That's the punchline on the show.
Okay, you haven't seen the Wikipedia.
It's a cast. It's cast.
Yeah.
Like there's not a person.
It's not a competition.
What I would think game show is like a guy, like you, like one of us would be a contestant. Like like your brother could be on it or whatever.
Zane?
Like it's a guy. It's not. But whatever, that's fine. That's this is your game. I don't want to.
No.
I'm fine being the shithole.
That was
today.
Pepper, and that's a terrible pick, and we can shit on him. It's okay.
Well, it's not a game. I don't think it's a game show. But
It's not. I agree with you.
Shit on me,
100%.
Brendon.
It's not a game show.
Shit on me.
And it's not fine. And it's not a game show.
I apologize. I can leave.
All right. Yeah, you can get the fuck out of here. My number 3, and this is a game show, by the way. Now, this is kind of cast also for that point you made, but they are playing for something. Hollywood Squares.
Well, there are contestants on it.
Exactly.
There's 2 people playing. Like if Whose Line Is It Anyway had 2 people with buzzers who got to drive home in a new car.
Right. And the
either way, I'm not going to pick this apart.
No, you're right. And the improv guys are playing
Hollywood
for
Squares,
those contestants.
Hollywood Squares is that's a really good one. I didn't even think of that. That was a great show.
Gilbert Gottfried was actually the first celebrity we had shout us out. And,
that's great.
And he was fantastic on that show.
Yeah, that I don't remember. Oh yeah, I guess I don't remember Gilbert Gottfried being on it. When's the last time that show was on?
Like 2001, probably. I would imagine.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while.
That's impossible.
It was definitely.
There's a funny from the original original, and I'm not going to get too. I don't want to get too sidetracked because I do have to leave here in a minute. But this is a very funny. This is one of the funniest TV moments that sticks in my head. Is from the 60s or 70s. Paul Lynde was the center square, I believe.
Right.
He was a Hollywood Squares guy. I don't know if you know who Paul Lynde is, but he was in a lot of sitcoms. He was like talk like this. Like he's obviously like a gay guy, but didn't, wasn't like spoken about back then. And he would like play, whatever. He didn't play gay guys on TV because they didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was on the Hollywood Squares, and the question was to the contestants. They picked Paul Lynde, and the host says, "Okay, Paul, when you're on a boat and a man falls overboard, they say man overboard. But what do they say when a woman falls overboard?" And Paul goes, "Full speed ahead."
That is a good one, dude.
All right, dude. We know you got to get out of here, so we'll burn through these. What's your number
3? I'm going to say with number 3, I'm going to go Wheel of Fortune.
Great pick.
Oh, nice. That's a staple.
What's your number 3?
My number 2, Thomas, is Minute to Win It. You ever seen that?
No.
They force people to do obscure tasks within a minute. And if they win, they get like whatever amount of money. It's pretty fucking sick.
Sounds terrible. My number 2 is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Rest in peace, Regis Philbin. Is Regis alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. He's 88.
Good for him. Dude, I'm so sorry for the rest in peace. Fantastic. That's good for him. Nikki Glazer cried. Norm Macdonald's my favorite guest. He won $500,000.
Really?
Yeah, Norm Macdonald was fucking fantastic.
I ain't looked that up.
What's your number 2, Brendon?
The number 2 and I'm going to say Jeopardy for number 2.
Nice.
Ooh, great.
Could be at number 1, but the number 1 is definitely number 1.
Do you have a Jeopardy contestant that sticks out to you as your favorite?
Ken Jennings.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably the most memorable in my life, as far as...
I agree.
He really kind of changed the whole... Well, I mean, it was a double thing. Because you used to not be able to win for more than a week.
Yeah.
Once you won 5
Right.
consecutive games, they kicked you off. So he came along when they did away with that rule. So it was like kind of good timing.
Just fuck the system.
What's your number one, Pepper?
My number one?
Yeah.
You ready for this shit?
Yes.
You already said it, so fuck
Sure.
you. Who wants to be a goddamn millionaire?
All right. My number one, and this might be yours, Brendon, and I know you've had some part in this, and it's one of your best friends. My number one is The Price is Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
First of all, me and my grandma used to watch it all the time. Great grandma used to watch it all the time whenever I was a kid.
I would. Everybody has watched it with their grandma.
Yeah, I would fake. I lived next door to her. I would fake being sick so I could stay home from school, go over there, get an ice cream cone, and watch the fucking Price is Right. And now the bar that I host trivia at on Thursday nights, Celtic Irish Pub,
the world famous Celtic
Irish Pub, they actually play the Price is Right at the bar. To where whoever's in the bar at 10 a.m., they watch Drew Carey and they make their bids. And if you get the correct bid, you get like a free beer every time you get it right.
That's a great prize for.
What's your number one, Brendon?
Correct. It's The Price is Right. I mean, it's just hands down. It's the best show. It's the best game show in history.
It's got to be.
Partly because there's the nostalgia. Like I too would watch it. You know, when my great grandma would babysit my brother and I when we were little kids, we would watch The Price is Right. But also, what really sticks with me is when you're watching The Price is Right, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing generally, because it's on at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. depending on where you live.
Right.
But it's only on during the week at a time of day when you should be at work or school. So if you're watching it, you're getting away with something.
Exactly. And that was my point. Is like I would literally fake sick from school so I can go watch it. And then now whenever I'm watching it with the bar patrons at the bar that I work at, it's like
you don't fucking work there.
Well, I mean, I'm a host there, so I definitely work there.
That's fun.
And whenever I do, if I'm in there at like 10 a.m. watching The Price is Right with those, 70-year-old retired fire chiefs winning free beers for, bidding on a blender, I'm like, okay, we definitely shouldn't all be getting fucking 4 free beers at 10:30 a.m. But that makes this show way cooler.
You remember when Mastodon was on there?
No.
The metal band?
No.
Okay.
Brendon.
Oh, on Price is Right?
Yeah.
They had like a metal week, because I know Kiss was on.
Oh, really?
That's very metal.
I know. Well, I just saw. I don't think I saw it, but I know Drew had a picture of him with the band Kiss in full makeup on the Price is Right stage. And also another bit of trivia that I discovered, I was watching that movie Jack and Jill, the one where Adam Sandler plays his twin sister and himself. It's pretty silly movie. It's pretty crazy. It's not bad. And also, something else to plug that I have nothing to do with is The Wrong Missy on Netflix is also hilarious.
Dude, Bobby Lee and Nick Swartzen steal the show in that movie. It's a great movie.
I mean, I think what's her name is steals.
Lauren Lapkus is fucking incredible.
She's
Missy. She's the title character. She doesn't need my plug, but she's fantastic.
Well, but nobody. I feel like that's a really hard thing to pull off what she did there to do that as well as she did. Like you have to be genuinely funny.
Yeah, Pepper hasn't seen it, but dude, Lauren Lapkus was insane. She was so good in that movie, and I've seen her everywhere. I saw her on Millionaire, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I saw her on Hollywood Game Night, and she stole the show on both shows. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's perfect in that movie. But the Jack and Jill is reminiscent of like the ridiculousness. But the Jack and Jill, Drew Carey's in that because his Jill goes on Price is Right.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But also a weird thing, and then I brought this up to Drew after I watched it. The other people that make cameos in that movie are the ShamWow guy who, had like got in trouble for biting like a hooker's face, I think.
Right. Yeah. Cocaine.
Bruce Jenner.
Allegedly.
Bruce Jenner
Caitlyn
is
Brennan.
in it. Well, but it's Bruce Jenner is in the movie.
Right.
And Jared from Subway.
Oh shit.
Are the three when I watched it, it's a very weird group of it's like just Jared and Bruce Jenner in the same movie playing themselves as like Bruce Jenner was in a play with Al Pacino, because Al Pacino's in the movie for some reason, which is ridiculous.
Rushmore people in Jack and Jill: Al Pacino, Jared from Subway, ShamWow guy, and Drew Carey. Hands down. Sorry, Adam, you didn't make the cut.
Yeah, it's true, and he's in it twice.
Yeah.
It's just, it was a weird time, because like when I watched it was like, you know, the Bruce Jenner, like the Caitlyn Jenner thing and the Jared thing were all kind of happening. I'm like, what the fuck? And then and Al Pacino's in this movie. He's in this movie. Like he's not like just like the ShamWow guy who pops in.
He's credited.
Al Pacino's like he's in 70% of the screen time of this movie.
It's fantastic.
Which is ridiculous.
I need to revisit it. It sounds
it's worth
looking
watching.
back. Yeah, it seems like it aged like terribly, which means it aged really well.
I need to check that out.
It aged very strangely. It seems.
I don't watch movies.
Yeah, Pepper's not a movie guy. He hates Dave Grohl. He's not a movie guy. He hates Jason Segel.
Movies take a lot of. That's a commitment to watch a movie.
Thank you.
Do you watch 90 Day Fiance?
No,
something like that?
I don't.
That was Jeff's number one, by the way. When we had Jeff Dennis from Danish and O'Neill, we did our Rushmore of reality TV, and 90 Day Fiance was his number one.
I like to go fishing.
Shout out.
That's good. Yeah.
Well,
I got to head out, guys.
Yeah, but, dude. We love you, man. We're done.
To all of our listeners, right fucking now, go subscribe to The Bone Zone. Go subscribe to Do You Know Who Jason Segel Is?
More importantly.
Well, yeah. Let's just focus on the current one.
Yeah. Say it again.
The World Record Podcast.
Yeah. Let's go subscribe to his podcast from 4 years ago.
Hey.
No, let's subscribe to the one now.
No, listen to all of them. Listen to all of them. They're all fucking.
I mean, it's a good body of work. I definitely have.
All of those
hundreds
feeds
of
are
hours.
still active, right?
Yeah, of course.
I know. Do you know who Jason Segel is? So go check them all out. I mean, if you don't like Brendon Walsh, fuck you. If you don't like Brendon Walsh, turn this episode off right now. Unsubscribe to our podcast and go fuck off.
Yeah, go definitely go watch this episode of Celebrity Family Feud on Team Drew Carey. It was fantastic. And subscribe.
Oh yeah, I just got an email. They're re-airing it on July 26th.
Also, it lives on Hulu, so you can go watch it anytime. That's where I watched it.
True. Yeah.
But
okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Love you, man.
We love you.
Talk to you later. Thank you.